It's daybreak, and if you have just joined us, you're just in time to catch the review of the front pages, looking at the biggest stories from around the world. As it is customary on the show, we begin with our sister publication this day. Well, the Nigerian Labour Congress has been speaking, and the paper is leading with that story. This follows, of course, the suspended strike. Well, Labour to federal government this time around is warning that there will be no warning before next strike if you renege on agreement. Insists there's trust gap between Nigerian leaders and the masses. Says crisis not over yet. Some pensioners earning 5,000 naira. It also explains reason for suspending the industrial action. So if you want details of that story, you know where to find it. A copy of this day. Above that, the crisis in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, makes it to the front page in the yellow window. Ayedatiwa, that's the deputy governor. Well, Ondo Assembly has now dragged the judge who gave an ex parte on the issue to NJC over alleged compromise. Above the masthead of this day this morning, the historic moment at the U.S. Capitol Hill as Kevin McCarthy, the U.S. House Speaker, is ousted by vote of 216 against 210. Tinubu replaces El Rufai, appoints Balarabe, two others as ministerial nominees. And federal government of Nigeria says 8,406 confirmed cases of diphtheria in 19 states. That's about it on the front page of our sister publication this fine Wednesday morning.
All right, let's look at the Punch. Tinubu's credentials. APC lampoons Atiku ex-VP set to submit documents in Supreme Court with two riders. Atiku's journey to Chicago varsity, a fruitless exercise. Ex-VP a loser, says APC president's documents released by varsity are vindicated us, PDP insists. Minister Tinubu picks Balarabe to replace El Rufai. You can find that on page 8. Mohbad. Police detain Naira Marley, that's on page 16. Ayedatiwa, Ondo Assembly asks CJ to raise impeachment panel. 2 killed as last mile officials driver clash, LG office raised. 22 drowned as boat capsizes in Niger. 6 bodies recovered in that incident on the top mast. 100 billion Naira CNG buses. Senate rejects CBN loans, warns Tinubu against illegal spending. 17 independent discos get licenses, 10 operational. 23 oil blocks failed to produce crude. This is coming from the federal government.
Let's take a look at The Guardian Nigeria this morning. Leading headline: hurdles for the federal government, 2024 budget, over 10 trillion naira deficit and palliatives. You can see the figures on the front page there of the 2022 budget implementation report. You have total revenue at 5.30 trillion naira and total expenditure at 14.63 trillion naira. Fiscal deficit standing at 9.30 trillion naira. Not a good look. President Tinubu nominates Balarabe to replace El Rufai and 2 others. Lawmakers bar first-term members from Senate presidency. That's The Guardian Nigeria.
Well, the Nigerian Tribune leads with what the Senate has been up to. First-timers can't contest for Senate president and deputy as the Red Chambers amends its rules. Tinubu seeks the Senate's confirmation of 3 new ministerial nominees. Also makes it to the Nigerian Tribune this morning. An unfortunate development in Lagos State. Pregnant woman, 2 children die as LASMA policeman struggle with driver in Lagos. Impeachment. Ondo Assembly directs CJ, that's the chief judge, to constitute 7-man panel on deputy governor. Petitions NJC over federal court judge ruling. Tinubu's documents. Chicago State University testifies in deposition proceedings. Well, above the mass plate this morning, Reps to probe 15.5 trillion naira pension assets, status of 10 trillion naira loan to the federal government. And unfortunately, there's been another boat accident in Kebbi State, killing 23 people. The story of Mohbad makes it to the Nigerian Tribune this morning. The paper is reporting that Naira Marley is now in police custody, and that's according to the police. We have cleared all passport backlogs, says the Nigerian Immigration Service. A reprieve for Nigerians, perhaps. And Pope suggests Catholic Church could bless same-sex couple. The front page of the Nigerian Tribune for you.
All right, for sports-loving people, let's look at what Sports Extra is saying on its front page. Dilemma. Eagles coach Pizarro faces striker selection headache ahead of October friendlies. Ronaldo wins back-to-back Saudi Player of the Month awards. VAR should be scrapped. Winning titles at United, miracle. Mourinho. Sancho close to Old Trafford exit. Well, the UCL matches yesterday, let's give you some results. Copenhagen 1, Bayern 2, Man United 2. 3 Galatasaray. Man United lost at home. Arsenal lost away to Lens 2-1. PSV and Sevilla played a 2-2 draw. Union Berlin lost at home to Braga. Napoli 2, Madrid 3. Salzburg 0 to Sociedad. Inter 1 and Benfica 0. Today's fixtures: Antwerp versus Shakhtar Donetsk, Atletico versus Feyenoord, Celtic, Lazio, Dortmund, Milan, Newcastle, PSG, Porto, Barcelona, Leipzig versus Man City, Red Star versus the young boys. And Champions League recovery, that is Leipzig. I just told you about that. Bellingham scored in that win of Madrid against Osimhen's team in Italy. That's for the points for the Sports Extra.
Okay, I think we have one more national daily. The Daily Sun this morning. Leading headline: Ministers Kwara Ondo get more slots as President Tinubu raises number to 48. The president nominates 3 additional ministers, names Abba Balarabe as El-Rufai's replacement. Just at the bottom there, Lagos residents slam traffic officers over death of a pregnant woman and 2 children. Let's take one more headline here. 23 killed in Kebbi boat mishap, and pastor dies in collapsed church building in Benue. 4 others injured in that incident. That's the Daily Sun.
Well, let's look at the foreign papers. The Tory Party's conference makes it to the front page of most of the papers this morning. The Eye, after her speech, Home Secretary, the speech of the Home Secretary at the Tory Party's conference talking about Braverman, the Eye leads with this headline: Braverman's hardline job application to become Tory leader.
All right, let's look at the Times. Braverman, migration hurricane is coming. Home Secretary attacks celebrity critics, saying it isn't their children the criminals will groom. Choose me for change. Sunak will tell voters. That's in the upcoming elections. That's for the Times.
The Daily Mirror seems fed up on its front page this morning. Another day of excuses. It says today the PM will blame our country's problems on the political system. But remind us, Rishi, how many years have the Tories had to fix Britain? 13. Unlucky for us. That's the Daily Mirror.
Well, The Guardian is reporting what the Prime Minister is likely to say today during the conference when he gives his speech. The Guardian says that the Prime Minister will likely say that politics is broken and that voters are exhausted by party infighting.
Let's look at the Daily Express. For instance, interesting stories on the front page of the Daily Express. PM, I'll tear up rule book on 30 years of broke politics. And Suella hurricane of migration is sweeping millions towards Britain. Princess Kate's heartfelt gesture.
The Financial Times this morning. Some business bond sell-off deepens as high rates prospects spook markets. There's a 30-year U.S. yield touches 16-year peak, and a global rout hits stocks and currencies. And just below there, Revolut agrees SoftBank share deal in quest to secure UK banking license. And the leading photo there, of course, of Breverman. Hurricane warning. Breverman accuses Tories of being squeamish over tackling immigration.
The Metro. It's justice for Jade. Well, this story is about a change in law after a woman was murdered by her husband and he then repeatedly contacted her family. Well, such parents will now be stripped of their parental rights.
The Daily Telegraph. Sunak, I will change the status quo. PM promises to tackle broken political system in series of big calls before election. And still the story on Braverman. We face migrant hurricane. And Johnson's COVID decisions were bipolar, reveals violence diary.
All right, that's the press review.